can be talented, and we'll see talent for ages. Well, someone will always be super talented on the drums.
Right.
But I really honestly think that gets you to a certain point, and then you just gotta work your ass off.
I'm here with Ken Salters. What was the moment that got you into the drums? I ask everybody this, but what was the moment where you're like, this is love? Like, I'm willing to throw away the Wall Street career and just do this.
That's a good question, man, because there's two moments, basically. I guess the first official one was in 6th grade. I played the trombone. That was my first instrument. I played the trombone in middle school band.
You didn't start till 6th grade?
No, that's the thing. See, that's why it's confusing. But in 6th grade, I decided that I wanted to switch to the drums. So in 7th grade, I started playing the drums in school.
I see.
Started taking lessons. And I was like, wow, this is what I want to do. But honestly, I keep finding out different things from my parents, man. Like, they tell me, like, my mom, the last time I went home, was like, man, when you were, a year and a half or 2 years old, you used to pull everything out of the cupboard, pots and pans, and you would just beat on everything. I think when I was 4, my parents got me a toy drum set for Christmas, and it lasted, I kid you not, I think it lasted 4 hours. I completely destroyed it. Just fucking destroyed it.
Were they like, wow, he loves it so much?
I just played it super hard. And I think at some point they were like, okay, we're going to have to get him a real drum set.
Yeah, that's... talk about those moments when it could have tipped either way. They could have been like,
right?
How much did we spend on that? It's like, you're gonna play the flute instead.
I mean, I could have been playing trombone right now.
I keep waiting for the moment when somebody I ask in an interview just fesses up to they just started playing drums because they thought it would be a good way to get girls. I suspect that's about 65% of it for most of us.
Well, another thing when I was in middle school is I had this best friend, and him and his brother both played drums, and I was like, man, I want to be like him. Maybe that's indirectly related to getting the girls.
Were you in bands in high school?
Not really, man. I was pretty much just a band nerd. I did marching band.
Did you nerd out about drum corps stuff?
I marched drum corps, man. I marched drum corps 2 years. I marched in 99 and 2000. That was the thing, man. I liked everything. I wanted to be in a little bit of everything. I had always been kind of like gigging on drum set, and I was like, well, maybe, this is a thing. And from there, it just got crazy. I just jumped feet first.
Uh-huh. So you had your sort of Buddhist monk period where it's just like 9 hours a day in the shed.
I did. In college, man. It was great. I didn't have to work. I didn't have to pay for anything.
That's awesome.
So, vacation days or like Christmas break, stuff like that, I would just shed and read modern German magazines.
Who were your heroes at that point?
A lot of the same people. Brian played, Vinnie Colaiuta, Roy Haynes, Elvin Jones, all the people that they listened to. In college and high school, it was funny. I was kind of big into like the younger type guys that like everyone kind of like made fun of a little bit, like Dave Buckle, Steve Gadd, or like that whole like era of, well, not Steve Gadd, but
I feel like drum corps is kind of the new comic books. It's sort of the thing that like seems nerdy at the time, but that everybody who's good eventually owns up to.
Oh man, I loved marching band and drum corps in high school. Like that was my shit. It definitely has like more of a rock star vibe now. And I think, a lot of that has to do with like the publication it's got, over the past like 10 years. Like when I was doing it, you had to buy the videos, like you had to like seek them out. And now it's like
iPhone.
Now it's they show it in movie theaters and shit. It's really cool actually.
you know, the elephant in the room, and the reason I do this is basically I want to find out, like, what did you do differently to, like, get as good as you are?
I don't know, man. I feel like I know you said that people dodge that question, but I really do feel like I have a long way to go still. I will say this. I think a lot of what, you know, I've developed over, I guess, the course of my career has, you know, had a lot to do with the things I was telling you about earlier, like doing all these different things. Drum corps in particular, man. I had some really amazing teachers in drum corps. And it wasn't just about, you know, teaching marching snare drum. It was like, this is how you need to learn how to make music. Like, these were musicians like Paul Rennick, Jeff Queen. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like this super technical thing. Like, these guys were, you know, hell, I think Paul has a philosophy degree before anything else. Mm-hmm. And I learned a ton from that guy.
So, in your day-to-day now, is that something that's just there, that you don't have to worry about? Like, you don't listen back to a recording and there are any surprises, like, oh damn, I rushed those offbeats?
There's always little things that you notice from recordings. Those never seem to go away from me. God, there's so many things I feel like I apply to drum set. Like, the years that I spent on, you know, the method of movement. You know, do you know what that book is?
That sounds really familiar.
Lee Howard Stevens. It's a marimba book.
Oh, from marimba, that's right.
Like, the shit that you learn in that book can almost apply directly to drum set. Playing the drums is a physical instrument. Playing any percussion is a physical instrument, you know. It's kind of a dance, I guess. So you can't really ignore that, you know, to some extent anyway.
I feel like there are kind of two different approaches when I talk to different people.
Mm-hmm.
If you talk to Greg Hutchinson, he'll kind of be like, well, I was just the most killing player on earth when people started calling me, and that's kind of the way it went. All I ever worried about was sounding like Max Roach, and the phone started ringing. And then if you talk to other people, they're much more like, no, this is what I felt like doing, so I created this band with these people. You know, then I felt like, so it's much more of sort of like a inside out, like artistic kind of approach to things.
Right. It sounds like you're talking about a sideman and a band leader. I actually think early on I was definitely the shutter and waited for the phone to call. You know, I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm entering a new phase now. You know, I just recorded a record last year. The name of the record will be Enter to Exit.
Enter to Exit?
Yeah, it's like on Destiny Records. It's the record label. It's due out in May. I think it's going to be great. I just did a photo shoot like a couple weeks ago, and I'm talking with the artist or the photographer, and he was like, okay, man, you've got to decide what you want to do. You want to be a sideman, or you want to be, you know, you want to be making this music and doing your own thing. And it was kind of an eye-opener, man, because like you know, you can kind of, you can't completely focus on both things, you know?
I guess so. You can't really choose to be a sideman necessarily. You know, like you can choose to work hard and be as good as you can, but to a degree that chooses you. So it's like you can choose to put your chips on being a sideman, or you can choose to put your chips on being a leader, maybe.
Right. I mean, he was basically talking about focus, I think.
Huh.
You know, just like, how do you want the world to see you?
Yeah.
You know.
So like when you wake up in the morning, because like for me, I wake up in the morning and I just nerd out about drums. How does that stack up for you?
It's always been my dream to make a living playing music. Like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And whatever I need to do to make that happen is what's gonna happen. You know, that's what I think when I wake up in the morning. I want to travel the world, playing different music, experiencing different cultures, and, you know, not having to worry about supporting myself.
What's one thing that is different about the reality of achieving your dream than your 21, 22-year-old self assumed it would be?
You know, I think everything and every person that you see that, you know, is successful has put in a serious amount of effort and practice. You know, it's just, there's no other way around it. You know, if you want to be on a certain level, you know, you can be talented, and we'll see talent for ages. Well, someone will always be super talented on the drums.
Right.
But I really honestly think that gets you to a certain point, and then you just gotta work your ass off.
What do you do for your kind of mindset diet, related and unrelated to the drums?
I'm trying to make sure that I'm kind of a creature of habit, so I want to kind of make sure that my day starts the same way.
Morning ritual.
Every day. I am getting into meditation. I haven't, you know, dived into it fully yet, but I know it's definitely an important thing that I'm definitely going to get into. But yeah, I mean, you've got to kind of kickstart your day with something. Like, there's got to be like a thing, like a catalyst that gets you going. And because otherwise, it's, you know, it's really easy to, like, you know, play at smalls until 3:30 or 4 in the morning and sleep till 2 the next day.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm just trying to, like, get up, do my crossword.
You do a crossword?
I do
That's
tons
cool.
of crosswords.
Is that like a cool, like, mental focus type of thing?
It's
That's
funny,
almost like
man.
meditating, right?
I feel like it gets the wheels turning.
You know, I had this thing where I was thumbing through my iPhone photo archive,
Right.
and for a while I was just like, this is last year, this is the year before. I'm doing exactly the same shit, except I'm getting just older.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally just, it's like a holding pattern, except every year I'm older, doing exactly the same shit.
Right.
And I was like, oh, like, life doesn't automatically just transform before you. Like, we actually have to make that happen.
Sure.
Is there one thing, one sort of theme you see in your students, where, like, if you could send them all an email and say, like, stop doing this one thing, or, like, everybody just spend 3 months shedding this one thing, and then everybody's level would come up right away? Are there commonalities that way, or do you feel like every student is his or her own completely different situation?
I've been doing this teaching gig for almost as long as I've been here, about 7 or 8 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten those kids to do some crazy shit. Like, they would play we'll play tunes. It's still band. I've gotten some, you know, 10, 11-year-olds to play, like, some sophisticated stuff.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, wow, how'd you get them to do that? And if I sent the email, I would say, like, you know, you can do pretty much anything you put your mind to. It doesn't matter how old you are, necessarily. And we see that all the time on YouTube now, too. That's pretty much it.
Hell yeah.